Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Occupational Therapy for Life. We're continuing from our previous episodes, which is talking about the settings that occupational therapists can work. So we covered hospitals so far. We've covered schools. Today we're covering Clubhouse. Clubhouse may not be a popular term that you hear. People might be wondering what that is. So a clubhouse, and just to say it out here, Clubhouse may not be available everywhere, but there are a couple of places that have clubhouses. So you can do a Google search for Clubhouse, and the next will put mental health or Clubhouse outpatient, because you might type in a search for Clubhouse and you get something totally different, unrelated to therapy. So, oh yeah, disclaimer. This is just for entertainment purposes. I'm not your therapist. If you have a medical emergency, call 911. You should always consult your primary care provider, which is your doctor, whenever you're going to take a new course that may be determining things related to your health or doing things that may be impacting your body, just so you have a professional in the mix. All right, back to the clubhouse. So a clubhouse is pretty much, it's a rehabilitation that's focused on an outpatient. Usually people who are going to a clubhouse are people with severe mental health illness. Now, it's not strictly just for people with severe mental illness. You have people who have other developmental conditions. Just like previously we talked about high school students who are suffering or who are living with the condition of autism, intellectual disability. They too become adults. They too have to graduate from this high school that we offer. So once they're out of the high school, then what? What is that for them? What if this adult who has a condition that they're living with cannot go any further to, let's say, work at a supported job? What do they do? Is this it? Do they just stay home, or do they stay? What happens to them? Do they go to a shelter? So luckily for me, I live in a state, which is the state of New York. There's a lot of options available. So depending on your state, you may have to find out, or depending on the country where you live, you may have to find out what options are available and how they deal with the population, the adult population, who are still suffering with these lifelong conditions. So typically, Clubhouse, they provide service to people with schizophrenia, bipolar, autism, Alzheimer's, Down syndrome, genetic disorders, or just trauma. Trauma might be like, a fire took out your whole family, and now it's mentally impacting you where you just cannot function. So a clubhouse will help to bring you back into the mix. So the clubhouse focus is pretty much on empowering the person to live a life that has meaning and fulfilling, despite their mental health challenges. And so the clubhouse is not just focused on like, oh, we're gonna help you with your symptoms and know when you have this and that's not you, but that's your symptom of the condition. So the clubhouse is focused more on helping the members to develop a sense of community, help them develop a sense of self-worth, and help them develop a sense of I can do attitude, and to help them to reintegrate into society. So the type of professionals that'll be there, aside from occupational therapists, mind you, occupational therapists are part of the mix. In some places, where at least the clubhouse that I was at, the occupational therapist was sort of in charge of the clubhouse. But you have other professionals that you're dealing with, such as a psychiatrist, psychologist, social worker, and other professionals that may be part of that. So what do you do at a clubhouse? So it's a clubhouse that is maintained by the members, so such as cooking, cleaning, bathing, getting dressed, work on their ability to communicate effectively, whether it's writing, whether it's verbal, or understanding nonverbal communication. Social skills. How do you get along with each other? How do you get your needs met? And when is the appropriate way to try to get your needs met? And when you're dealing with other people, finding and maintaining employment, because you might be able to get a job, but for some reason you have a hard time keeping it. So the clubhouse helps with those. Finding ability to live home, like not a home, but having your own space to live. And how do you take care of that? Moving into an apartment, maintaining the apartment, because you might know a lot of people that are homeless have mental health issues as well, especially people like you see on the subway. Sometimes they're homeless and they have mental health issues. Because I remember I was at a facility that dealt with mental health, and this individual skipped medication for whatever reason, so he got a relapse in symptoms and had to be brought back to the mental facility. Because sometimes, depending on your condition, if you suffer from delusions are like a symptom of mental health issues, where this person has this story, this narrative of a story, and it's usually like they're being persecuted or chased. So if you ever watch the movie A Beautiful Mind, that's an example of a person who had a mental health issue. I think in his case it's schizophrenia. I'm not 100% sure, but you see the dynamics of the impact on his family, his social circle, and in his career. But what makes the movie A Beautiful Mind a good movie is just how he was able to come to a place where he was able to find a way to live with this condition, and how he was able to navigate through that process. Now, some of these conditions, most of them, there's no cure. But what we're trying to say through a system like the clubhouse, so after they stabilize you, whereas in a medical physical injury, you get stabilized with medication, pain management. But when it comes to mental health, you may not necessarily have physical pain, but it's your mind that you need to take control of. And your mind is basically your challenge. Because if your mind, you're having hallucination, you're seeing things that's not there, you're having delusions, or you're hearing things, all kinds of stuff. So like, how do you navigate through that and live with life? Because life is stressful as it is. So at a clubhouse, basically, it's a setting that allows you to develop your skills. Just like we mentioned, you're cooking, you're cleaning. We're usually running groups about leadership. We're running groups that's pertaining to a specific problem. How do you manage this? Like, I dealt with one guy who his wife passed away, and that was his partner. They did everything together. They played cards together. They were always together. They were both retired. So now his wife passed away. So he came to a point where he was just sitting at home. He retired, had nothing to do. Kids are grown. They live in another state. So he became somewhat depressed. So come into an outpatient facility, and we helped them to understand how to manage his time. Like, you have so much time, what are you doing with your day? So we did things like, okay, how about you go to the library? How about you go to community center? How about you join a yoga class? Learn to do this, learn to do that. Because the thing is, when you're idle and you're sitting around, your mind takes over, because you're not doing anything. You're just sitting there, and your mind is just replaying stories, memories, and so forth. And depending on what kind of memories you're replaying, it can impact your desire and ability to even want to live. So a clubhouse and other facilities similar to it we help the patients develop a sense of self-worth, how to not only manage their symptom, but how to recognize things that are of their condition and things that are of them. Just like I said before, there's a person and there's their condition. So, and how to develop positive habits or healthy habits, eating well, how food impacts your body, and so forth. So it's very involved, but at the same time, it's very rewarding when you see somebody is trying to live by themselves, or they're finding employment, or they develop new relationships. And the clubhouse is always available to them. It's not like, oh, you get a job, you're out. No, it's a resource always available to you. And that's pretty much it. So a place like a clubhouse is really focused towards helping primarily people with mental health issues, but people with intellectual disabilities, Down syndrome, and development delays as well can benefit. So we try to work with a variety of people. So in those cases, those people, they are it's within the community and they come to the clubhouse. Sometimes work on transportation management, all kinds of stuff. So it's very inclusive and it's very focused on helping the individual be independent and living a life that is meaningful and purposeful. All right, that's it for this episode. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a good day and peace out.